is Overpass Insights. My name is Eric and I make apps. Now today I want to say, don't trust the boot camps. Software development is hard. Alright, so last year I did a video asking whether or not the software market was too saturated. Is software development too saturated? And so you don't have to watch the video. The conclusion I came to was, yeah, it is. It's way too saturated. There's something like 22 million software developers in the world, and that's a lot. It's a very competitive, and you have to always be learning, always keeping your skills up if you want to be relevant. Right? You can't just rest on your laurels. You can't say, oh, what I learned in whatever, some course or in university, what I learned 10 years ago, I can still use today. Sometimes you can, but you always have to, be keeping those skills sharp and everything like that. Otherwise, you're just going to get left behind. Software developers don't die, they just fade away. But anyway, so that video had a really good comment that came in from Scrubbdogz just yesterday. And it said, you can basically blame the Bootcamp baby and the everyone should code sect, where these scammers just put out some wank curriculum and putting out thousands of people that just aren't qualified, and they wonder why they can't get a job. Not everyone should even bother learning. It's not for everyone. I think that's a really good point. We see this a lot. Just take my course and you be, a software developer. You don't see this with other things. You don't say, take my 5-day course and you can become a professional chef, right? But like for some reason with software development, it looks easy, right? And one of the reasons it looks easy is because if you're just focused on one thing, like, okay, I just want to do a quick reskin, I want to do a Flutter app or an Ionic app, and then you spin it up and it's got all that boilerplate code and you just make a few changes. It feels like it's easy, right? And which is fine. You could put out something very simple, very basic that way, and just, like if I was going to cook one specific meal, I would look up how to do that one meal and I would follow the instructions exactly, and then I might be okay. The problem comes when you have to troubleshoot things and you actually have the mindset of, I need to get to the bottom of this issue, right? That's a lot of what being a software developer is. Now, I've said before, and I still maintain that anybody could learn how to do software development. I think anyone could learn how to do it. The problem is that most people don't put in the time, right? It is hard to be a software developer. Like I talked about this before, and I don't want to go on it too much, but my degree was in history. So 20-something years ago, I got my university degree in history, and I could not find a job anywhere. So I moved into software, and I read a whole lot of books, but I also put in a whole lot of time, right? I would walk around with the JavaScript Bible, which in the late 90s, it was like 1,000 pages. And I read through that entire thing, and a lot of it was like way over my head, but I was just kept getting at it, kept going at it until I started learning it. And sometimes when you're just learning something, you have that very loose grasp of it, but it's the putting the hours in. Everyone out there who spent 4 days trying to solve something that should work, but it isn't. Okay, it says it should work, but it's not working for me. And you spend like ages solving that. Those are the dues you have to pay. Those are the kind of things that you have to go through in order to do it. I recently read Deep Work by Cal Newport, and he talks about this, the focused practice that you have to do, right? You can't just learn something and then all of a sudden you know it. As a software developer, you have the experience that comes along with it, which is, you have to sit down and actually, learn this kind of stuff. And I take what you say about that, Scrubbdogz, the whole bootcamp thing. What scares me about this is every time I have a client that they come to me to do something, and I'm like, dude, I'm just too busy, or I'm just not interested in that project, or that's not really my skill set. Then they'll say something like, well, do you think I should just go on Upwork and find somebody? And I was like, yeah, you can, but you can never really tell when you go, if you don't know what you're doing when you're hiring somebody, you don't know the person who's just taking a course and they're like, okay, that's it, I'm a software developer now, or the person who can actually sit down and say, why something's not working and just drill down into it. There are thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of hours that go into learning how to do this craft and to get very, very good at it. And the nice thing about these bootcamp babies, the people who come into the market, is that eventually they realize it's not as easy as they thought it was going to be, and then they move on to the next easy thing, right? The next shiny object. And I've been proud of myself with the fact that I've been an app developer this whole time, right? When I started, I was in all these mastermind groups, and a lot of people said, like, you know, a lot of people were in these mastermind groups with me, and they moved on to the next thing, whether it be drop shipping or ebook publishing or YouTube videos or, you know, as a profession, YouTube videos or whatever, Bitcoin, and they're moving on to the next shiny object. And, you know, if you're going to be good at software, if you want a career in this business, you have to put the work in. And that means that when you get like a stack trace error, you can't just run to somebody for help every single time. I get this a lot. I get people sending me, you know, Eric, I'm getting this stack trace error. What do you think it is? I'm like, I think what that means is that you need to dig down and find out what's wrong with your code. That's what that means, right? You need to go through, what you see that line number there? You need to figure out what that is. Well, what do you think it means? You need to dig, right? There's a, you know, anybody who's been in a software, worked in a software team or worked at a software company, you know that there are people who just, they're clicking, they're firing on all cylinders. They've got the experience, they've got the, you know, they put the reps in, and you know that they can solve any problem that you give to them. And you got some who are just, you know, they're just coming to work every day and going home. I just want to share some of my thoughts on it. Mainly I wanted to share that comment because I thought it was really good. For those of you guys out there who want to get into software development, by all means do it. You definitely could do it, but don't think that it's easy. Software development is not easy. You have to put the time in. You have to put the reps in. And all those times where you're sitting up late at night with pulling your hair out trying to solve something, that matters. You know, that actually goes towards your education. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Do you guys agree with that or disagree? And that is it for today. I'll talk to you guys again next time.